That's interesting. They added a spacer. All right. Let's see. This is like a piece of masonite that they painted black.
Okay. As in some sort of a stone?
No, masonite's like a hard board, a particle board.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and this is MDF, medium density fiber board. You look okay in here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I would do.
Okay.
I'd get rid of these.
Yep.
You don't need these. You don't really need the space. What I would do is treat this with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
First, you wipe it with a mold sponge, which is like it's actually a soot sponge, which is what they would use to get soot off of walls.
Sure.
So I would do that with this. Then I would treat this with 70% alcohol. I let it sit. So we'd kill all this mold. Then I would cut a new black mat board to go on top of this.
Okay.
Because that's really the best way to do it.
All right.
Okay, what's with all the plastic? Sometimes someone will come in with a piece that was been in a basement or stored somewhere that was very humid, and it has mold all over it. So when that happens, you wrap everything in plastic, you put plastic on your counter, and you really try to isolate this from everything else in the shop. So now let's take a look. This is a beautiful piece. It's really, I'm going to turn this around for you guys. This is really well put together. And when we're really inspecting this, it's really clean in here. I will wipe this edge with some 70% alcohol. The real problem is this piece of masonite, which is got, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's got quite a bit of mold on it. So what I'm going to do is vacuum the whole thing. I have a HEPA filter on my vacuum in here, vacuum out here. Then I'm going to take 70% isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to treat this area here and kill all that mold. And as I talked about before, this is really, it's beautifully put together. The problem is this can't be removed like a mat board. So once the mold is gone from this, we're going to cut a new mat board, which will sit right on top of this. It'll be black and will look just about the same. All right, guys, maybe we'll show you a little more on this as we get going on it. Okay guys, all the mold is gone. This is really clean. It's soaked in alcohol for about 20 minutes. I don't know how this was put together, but there was a crack here that was raising this up a bit, so I sanded that down. Now, this could be repainted, but it's beginning to crack in here. This was not badly made. It just happens the way this is glued to this, and you can see that little crack. And also, and ultimately, I'm going to touch that up with some black, but that will crack again. And ultimately, to take the mat board and line it up perfectly with this, you begin to see how we have the edge of the mat board, we have the edge of the wood that's on top, you have where this wood meets that. So what I've done is I've cut the mat a little smaller. I'm going to turn it this way so you don't see that crack. So with the wood cut, the mat board cut a little smaller, there's a little overhang. And it just helps clean up that edge. I think this is going to be just great. So I think that'll do it for the video, because next is to put this down with a little acid-free ATG tape, get the glass on, and put the whole thing together. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I've decided to paint the inner lip because there's some cracks where the wood's showing through. Just get that a nice crisp black again. So I've got my foam brush, and it's really dry. I don't have a lot of paint on it. I just want to start by getting into these areas here. And I'm actually going to let this dry. It's really hard to match blacks. I have no idea what this paint was. What would be nice, and I doubt it's going to happen, is if when this dries, it blends in perfectly. If not, I'm going to have to come down and paint the whole thing. Now, I'm going to reach over and grab my little brush right here, and see what I can do in that corner. Again, I've got the brush fairly dry. I don't want paint dripping all over the place. And I certainly don't want to get paint on that cloth. That's a good start. Rather than glop it in, I may do it in a couple of coats because I don't want a bunch of dripping paint in there. And I'll give it a little more. Let's see what happens. Ah, there we go. I think I'll let that dry. All right, so you get the idea of what I'm up against doing this, trying to protect the cloth. And I'm going to get back to work on this, and when the painting's done, we'll definitely show you that. Hey everyone, came in this morning to finish off this job, and something's bothering me. It's that crack right there, which has been painted, but since it's not flush, it's catching the light. And I think I will try to sand that and spackle it and get that to go away. It's just breaking up that perfect clean look that we have over here. All right, I will let you know how it goes. Well, you know, the more I looked at it, I couldn't resist, and so I sanded it all the way around where this top masonite board meets the edging in there. Now, it won't be perfect. It'll probably split out again a little bit in the future, but I don't know. Let's see how close to perfect we can get this before we put it together. Well, I think I'm happy with that. That edge looks nice and clean now. Paint's still drying, so it looks a little uneven. But I think that's going to do it, and I think finally I'm ready to put it together. One thing I didn't mention was when I first saw this frame, I thought the corners were coming apart, and actually they're not. This is a little groove. It's a decorative element they put into the frame. So I didn't want people to see the video and think that I had left these corners unattended to. This is how they're supposed to be. I kind of went to town on this because as a guy, we made a whole video of the project.
I know, I want to see.
Ready?
I want to see. Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so
Wow, it looks so good, yeah.
So what I did was the mats cut a little smaller than the board, so it overhangs.
Okay.
So you get a nice clean line. It's not trying to line it up with, and there was a crack along this edge where that masonite board was glued to that.
Okay.
I ended up taking the whole thing apart and sanding that and filling it and refinishing the inside. Also, it's not in the video because it's getting too long. I did end up taking the entire back off.
Okay.
And I covered the sculptures. I did dust the cloth with alcohol. The one thing I couldn't fix was the cloth has some like bumps in it.
Okay.
Now normally when you put cloth on something, you would stretch it around it or mount it down. They just glue the perimeter.
Okay.
So once it does this.
Yeah.
The other thing, so then I got it all together and I put the frame on it, and everything was so beautiful. The frame just looked terrible.
Okay.
So I refinished the frame.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and the back
Oh, great.
is also been sealed, dusted with alcohol, soaked for 20 minutes, then sealed and refinished. And remember how you had that hanging thing there?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I came up with something similar. So what happens is, 3 nails here, 3 nails here. Do you have a little level? If not, I can lend you.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, so just level this. 3 nails,
Okay.
and then it will hook
Right into
on
that. Great.
Right on
Oh,
that.
that's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really nice.
Oh, what an easy way to hang it too. That's,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the only way to do it. So,
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It looks
Thank
so
you.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't. Yeah. Fantastic
I really got
work.
into this project.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you for
No.
having such passion for it.
Yeah, well, when you see the video, you'll see me standing there going, well, I have to fix that, I can't leave that.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah,
This was it was in my parents' apartment, and my mom had passed
It's
away
beautiful.
5
Oh.
years ago. Now my dad passed away a year ago, so I had to clean out their whole
yeah.
house of all this artwork, and they had tons of it, but I only grabbed what was really nice, and
So
this
this
is
has
one of the
a
best
meaning
pieces.
to you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, this should be really stable for a long, long time.
Okay,
And the
good.
good news is that, you know, it says on the back that these are silver plated. Nothing's gonna happen to these. I just gave them a quick wipe down. I didn't
Yep.
put any chemicals on them,
Okay.
just wiped them. So those are good, and I think this is gonna last a long, long time.
Yeah, it should. It looks unbelievable. Thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
get my
Great work.
screwdriver, and I painted all this black. I'm gonna get my screwdriver and straighten that up,
Okay,
and then we're gonna wrap it up for you.
great.
Awesome.